First, I want to give big thanks to Honda of Laos, which made this video possible. So if you're in the market for a brand new or used Honda, make sure you check them out. Their URL is in the description below. Today I'm behind the wheel of a 2020 Honda Accord LX, and this is the base trim for the Honda Accord. Now previously I already reviewed a 2019 Accord Touring, which is the top trim level, and last year I reviewed a 6-speed manual Sport. I was in love with both of them, especially the 6-speed manual. The stick shift, the clutch, both were butter smooth, and that powerful 2-liter turbo engine that I had in my tester car, that is amazing engine. But today in this base trim I have a different engine. It's a 1.5 liter turbo engine pushing about 190 horsepower and 190 pound-feet of torque. Now because this is a turbo engine, that torque kicks in very early, under 2,000 RPM. So compared to some of the others in this class, the horsepower may seem to be down. However, because of that torque, it easily makes up for it, and later on in this video I'm going to show you how good acceleration is in this Accord LX. Now despite the fact this is the base trim, of course there are certain things that are the same as the upper trims. Let's start out with the size. On paper, if you look at the Accord in terms of length, width, and height, it's nearly identical to a Toyota Camry. In fact, all these dimensions are within an inch apart. In most cases, like half an inch apart. However, when you're on the inside, the story is very different. The legroom in the second row is substantially bigger than what you find in a Toyota Camry. In fact, it's bigger than the Toyota Avalon. I'm 5'10". Take a look with me in the back behind the driver's seat. There is a good 6 to 7 inches of legroom left. Now headroom is a little bit less, about 2 or 3 inches, but overall it's very spacious and comfortable. And these seats are very nice. Even though this is cloth, it actually feels pretty good. It feels like a combination of polyester and cloth. So it has a slipperier feel, but it still feels really nice. So for people that are sitting in the back or your kids, they're not gonna have a problem with space or comfort. Now, other little things is lacking though, because this is a base trim. There are no ports in the back, no USB ports, no 12V outlet, and no vents either. There's pretty much nothing other than cup holders. So just keep that in mind. Now, moving behind the second row, what about the trunk space? The trunk is also huge, one of the biggest in this class. In fact, it's over 2 cubic feet larger than the one you find in a Toyota Camry. Again, you get an enormous amount of cargo room behind the second row, and if that wasn't enough, you can fold down the seat and generate more space. So cargo room, second row room are outstanding, and up front, same thing. I have plenty of headroom here, as you guys can see, plenty of shoulder room, hip room. It is very massive in here. On the outside, the Honda Accord looks like a mid-size sedan, but inside, it feels like a larger full-size sedan, that's for sure. Now inside the cabin, it has the same elegant and modern design that you find on the upper trims. I like the combination of the black with silver, and in this one I'm driving has like a white tone seat and door panels, and I think the contrast in here looks really nice. And the screen setup also looks pretty nice. Unfortunately though, this is the one that doesn't have touch, doesn't have navigation, so although it looks nice, the functionality is very lacking. Pretty much you get the essentials: radio, Bluetooth, stuff like that. There's no Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, none of that, but the screen is pretty nice. The resolution is decent. As you can see here in reverse, you have a good view of what's behind you, and you can switch up the setup if you want. So the infotainment system looks nice, it's functional, but a little lacking. Underneath, you have a pair of vents, and then you have dual zone climate control. This is pretty nice, the same thing that you find in the upper trims. You have 2 knobs on the side, you can adjust the temperature. What I like is when you're turning the temperature up or down, the LED backlight will turn either red or blue. So just little things like that that I really like. Of course, you don't have Things like heated steering wheel, heated seats, ventilated seats. Normally you would find those in the climate control, not here. Underneath, you have some space, you have USB port and a 12V outlet. You also get another 12V outlet inside the armrest. And you do get a standard shifter, which is nice. Now this transmission is a CVT transmission. I've been driving around for a while now, and I gotta say, this CVT is not noticeable. You really can't tell. There's no, drone that you usually hear or feel with CVT transmissions. I don't feel or hear that at all. It's just doing its thing, and it's really non-intrusive. You just drive, and it feels like automatic that is shifting smoothly. Now, other things that make the Honda Accord so good is still in here, even in the base trim. For example, the quiet cabin. It is actually really, really quiet in here. No wind noise whatsoever, and cars passing by is really muted. You really don't hear much. Now, the one exception is the road noise. I do hear quite a bit from these tires. So outside the tires and road noise being a little bit noisier, it is still a very quiet ride in here. And keep in mind, this is with the radio off. As for the drive, I really enjoy that as well. I already talked about how spacious it is in here, but Honda made the door panels a little bit higher to give you kind of like a cozy feel. And especially with these seats, feel really nice. They feel like they're hugging my back, and the bottom cushion is also very comfortable. So with the combination of this cozy feeling with these comfortable seats and the spaciousness in here, it is very, very nice. Okay, so acceleration right there, about 15 miles per hour to about 65, and it wasn't too bad. I'm not gonna lie, it's nowhere near as powerful as the 2-liter turbo engine, which is a detuned Type R engine from the Civic. This one, I do feel like it has good pickup, but it's not very quick. So for most of you guys that are just doing daily driving, highway driving, this is gonna be okay. And fuel economy is pretty darn good too. We're talking about 33 miles per gallon combined. That is pretty outstanding. The brakes feel normal, kind of like all Hondas. They stop when you expect them to. It's not mushy, it's not stiff, just right. Now, as for the steering, it's kind of in between too. It's not the most precise steering, nor is it the most weighted steering. So it's kind of right in between. Those of you guys that want a heavier steering feel to give you more of a sports car vibe, you don't get that in here. I like this gauge cluster. I think it has a really modern feel to it. On the left side, you have a very large screen, and that's where you can select many things. You can have the tachometer on, but you can look at many things such as your safety features, your trip computer, fuel economy, settings, gauges on both sides, one for fuel and one for temperature. Overall, I like it. I think it has a modern vibe to it. Also, what has a modern vibe is the outside. The front end has a really big grille and that chrome bar that goes across from one side to the other. The headlight shape, the taillight shape, overall the curves and the profile of the body. I think the Accord is a good looking sedan. As for pricing, that's where it gets even better. This LX Accord starts at $24,000. You're getting a whole lot with this Honda Accord for $24,000. And if you wanted a little more fun, move up to the Sport with the 6-speed manual. If you haven't seen my video, click above and look at it now. But if you want to smile every time you go out for a drive, you can't go wrong with the Sport 6-speed. And you really can't go wrong with this base LX if you're in the market for a spacious, comfortable, and long-lasting midsize sedan that is affordable. Lastly, let's sum up the good and bad to this brand new Accord LX. On the good side, the Accord has a modern, stylish exterior look. On the inside, you have a good-looking and high-quality cabin. You definitely get an enormous amount of space inside, including cargo room. You get Honda sensing safety features standard. Also, you have very comfortable seats both front and back. And lastly, you have a quiet ride with a great driving position. On bad side, there are no vents or ports of any kind for the second row. The tire noise is a tad loud. The infotainment screen is very basic. And finally, you have manual adjusting driver's seat. Overall, I'm giving this brand new 2020 Honda Accord LX a score of 93. And if you want to see how it compares with its peers, check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future reviews, first looks, or news.